And I am here for it live in a new venue. It's the Bright Sided Podcast Studio at Palette. And my special guest today is Reham LaRussa.
Hi, everybody.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you here. You have actually been a member from the very, very beginning, a member to Palette from day one. You joined as a founding member, right?
November 2019. I remember seeing the posts on Instagram, and I was miserable in my old co-working space. I was just like, that looks fun. Let me go there, try that instead.
Yeah, and like, what initially were you drawn to when you joined us?
So really, when I moved here from New York City and I worked remotely pre-pandemic, before it was like a thing for everybody. I wanted to have a remote office, an actual office to go to so I could meet people and form a community in a new place where I didn't know anybody. But my old co-working space did not have that. Everybody kept their doors closed. And what I saw on like the Instagram before it was open, it sounded like it was really about community and women supporting women. And I was just like, maybe that's how I meet people.
Yeah. And so how long you had moved up here from the city?
Yep.
How long ago before you joined Palette were you living up here?
Let's see here. Hold on. So I have to go backwards in how old Olivia is. So Olivia is turning 10. So we lived in our house for 8 years. And I started here in November of 2019. So we moved here in 2015. So like 4 years.
So like 4 years. And you feel like most of the people you were friends with and stuff were just through the kids? Like you befriended?
I had no friends.
No friends?
I had no friends when we first moved here. I mean, I had a lot of acquaintances up here. And I take that back. I had 1 or 2 friends. One was like one of my best friends who lived in Brooklyn and shockingly moved to Saratoga Springs like a couple months before we did, which was really weird.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like it was just, daycare drop off work, daycare drop off work. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Exactly. No fun.
No fun. Okay, so then you joined Palette.
Yep.
And you already had a co-working space, so this
Correct.
is just a different sort of co-working space that you want to be part of.
Yes.
And you joined it as a founding member, and like you have to tell people about that because I think that so much has happened since then. But like it was like seriously sheetrock construction zone.
Yes.
When you came on board, and then we opened that co-working space in November.
Yeah, I was actually, so I think I met you, it was right before Zia was born.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't believe that you were that pregnant and like doing this.
I was hugely pregnant.
I saw the vision and I saw, the excitement behind it and everything. And it was just like, okay, well, this is a place where, you get your work done, but people will actually talk and meet each other. And I didn't have that support where I was before. It literally everybody had a private office, closed their doors. There was no like socializing, even at the like getting coffee. So when I came here, there were no floors. That bathroom was disgusting. And then you just added a lot of pink.
I know. I'm going to miss it. We have since, for those who don't know, but we have since moved from that space to this space. Yep. And we gave up our bathroom, which had like pink sparkle wallpaper. It was my favorite.
I think my daughter, Olivia, had wanted to get that when we were redoing our bathroom. And I was just like, we'll just leave it for here.
Yeah, just visit Palette. So It's still there. It's just not ours anymore. Yes. So what's interesting though, and what I love about your particular story is that you joined for the community and you obviously needed a co-working space anyway, because you didn't want to work from home.
Right.
But some other things started to happen, right? So like you were sort of looking for something different to do.
Right. So I feel like for a really long time, I knew I didn't want to do what I had been doing. But when you do something for so long and you're good at it, you just kind of get comfortable, and you have young children, and it's really hard to change because you've got this great schedule and it was the flexibility, but I was never really happy and I never loved what I did. There was no passion behind it. So I knew I didn't want to stay there forever, but I was in the stone and tile industry. I ended up being for 17 years, which is still blows my mind.
17
years.
years.
Yeah. My first company I was with for, I think 7 years, and the second, no, 8 years, and then 9 years. So,
Okay.
I am loyal. I'm a loyal employee.
Yes, I would say in a world when people are like jumping ship
after a year,
after 1 year, and it's like no, like that, like back in the day that when I was growing up, it was like that would look bad. It was like, you want to show that you have been employed for at least 10 years or whatever.
Or at least a couple of years under your belt. Yeah. So I had stayed, but I also stayed because it was comfortable. It was safe, and, it was really flexible with young children, and that's really what I had needed for a time.
And y'all moved up here for Dave's job, right?
Yeah. So, well, we knew we didn't want to raise children in New York City. It's just way too expensive. I didn't want to live off of ramen noodles for the rest of my life. So we moved up here. Dave found a job, and when I had told my work that I was moving, they said, "Why don't you just stay with us and work remotely? We'll get you an office space." So that's kind of how that happened. And then, so I was there, and then, the pandemic happened. I was still there. Lots of, life changes had occurred, and, it came to a point where I was like, you know what, I'm not happy. And I felt comfortable to finally start looking to make a change. And for a really long time, I was interviewing with a lot of different companies, trying to figure out write new job roles for myself, try to find something that I was passionate about, and nothing was working. Nothing. It was hiring freezes, or you're too expensive, or
you're overqualified.
Yeah. Or we're going to reorganize and we're going to get back to you.
Yeah.
And I had really hit what I felt like was an emotional rock bottom. I was really depressed. But I had come, and I talked to you and Marcella all the time about it, which was, part of having a community of people, which was great because it was we're coworkers, but we weren't coworkers. Everybody knew what was happening in everyone's lives, but we didn't actually work together. Marcella helped me a lot with putting together a business plan and everything. And then you mentioned, oh, well, you do e-commerce for your job. Why don't you buy this company, Small Packages? And I was like, people don't buy companies. People like me don't buy a company. In my mind, it was millions of dollars to purchase a company. And I was like, I can't do this. But as more time went on, it kind of became the thought of, well, why can't I do it? Or what's it going to hurt to have this conversation? At the end of the day, just because I talk to somebody doesn't mean I have to do anything about it.
Right.
So I started having the conversations, and the more I learned, and the more, the deep inner thoughts that I had, I just sat with myself and thought, what should I do? It just kind of felt like it was all a sign, it was meant to happen when it did. Then I went and purchased Small Packages with some help from you. I don't think I would have been able to find the lawyer and the bank and know any of these things to do. And that was another great thing about having a community of people, because there were lots of people around that's just did you do this? You need to do this. I have a great person who can do this. And I never would have had that before.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I also want to kind of push back on you. You didn't think long about it. It was things happen.
It happened fast,
pretty quickly. And, you might think to yourself oh, I thought about it, but it was a pretty, it moved quickly.
Yeah. So it was all within a month, I would say. To be honest, I had this job offer that was out there, and I was waiting for it to come through, and it didn't. And I was just you know what? Screw you. I deserve better than this. And, I did, had to have a lot of talks with my husband about it too, because it was going to be a big financial risk for us. Were we in a place where we could do that? I wasn't sure, would I be able to pay myself? Can we live off of one salary? I didn't think about it long, but I did have to have some hard conversations and really think deep about it, because I do have 2 little humans that rely on us too.
Right. Yeah. And I also think there was just a massive transformation in a short amount of time, but there was so much build up to that. Right?
It was a long time coming.
Yeah. So you joined Palette in 2019 and, COVID happened. I just think like you built a lot of relationships around here and you also built yourself up and, like just doing that work, you feel like is not, you don't see any like, big reveal
Right.
until you do. And then you're like, oh my gosh, did I just do this? I just bought this business. I just quit my job, bought this business.
Yes.
What?
It was like, what am I doing?
Ledge.
What
Right.
am I doing? And yeah, there were like the first couple months I'd wake up and be like, why did I do that? This was stupid. You shouldn't have done that. Like, go back to your old job.
Yeah.
But it's been, it's not a year yet, but it's probably been like 7-8 months now. And getting the hang of it, I will say, and I keep saying, like I just shared on like LinkedIn, like summer's hard when you have young children and trying to manage like my work schedule, their camp schedule, their play dates, their sleepovers. Olivia does travel softball. So it's, and
you're
I'm on the board yeah. And I always say I'm a glutton for punishment because I, joined the board. But I was like telling somebody last weekend, I was just like, as much as I might complain about it, I actually love it. I love seeing like all the improvements I'm doing for my daughter.
Right.
I have my youngest, Liliana, she hates softball. So, before I was doing it for both of them, but now, it's really like helping to build it up for my older daughter and just all the girls of Saratoga, because the softball fields are not in the best shape, but luckily we've got the city behind us and hopefully getting new softball fields.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, you know what they say, give, if you want something done, give it to well, people say if you want something done, give it to a busy person, but yes. I believe it's like, if you want something done, give it to a mom.
Because we get it done.
Right. And like a mom who's also a business owner is like a double whammy.
Next level.
Yeah. So since being a business owner, like, do you think of yourself as an entrepreneur now?
I'm starting to, it took me a really long, it took a while, really, it's just like this adjustment where you reported to somebody and someone held you accountable. Like, I always held myself accountable too, but I suddenly didn't have anybody to report to say, oh, I didn't get this done. Or, I need help with this. Suddenly I was the CFO, the CEO, the like logistics and marketing and everything. And it was one of those things where I was just like, oh, I'm really good at these things and I have no idea how to do these things.
Yeah.
So that was really learning how to like ask for help. And I do, for a while I thought like being an entrepreneur and a business owner meant you did it all by yourself. But it's not. It's really continuing to build those relationships and asking people questions like, how did you do this? And who do you use? And, getting some business mentors if you need to, hiring people to do your marketing because you have no idea what you're doing, hiring people to do your books because I'm not good at that stuff.
Yeah. No, it's all about like, well, when you're building something, it's you are doing all those things yourself because you want to do it a certain way, or you need to be the person that kind of like sets up those standard operating procedures and the brand and all those things. But once you streamline it, you can then outsource it and lean on, experts in their field. And I feel like you absolutely need to, if you master no other skill, you have to master the skill of delegating.
Yes. And just asking for help. Like that, I think is the hardest thing, is just being like, I'm not good at this. And instead of just me watching, like for a little while, I'd be like, well, let me watch this YouTube video. Let me watch this LinkedIn video on how to do this. And I'm going to teach myself and I'm going to become an expert at it. But then I found myself spending so much time that was like, why?
Yeah. For what?
I don't have to be, it's like, what is it? Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to be that. I want to be good at what I'm doing and really good at finding the people that can help me and delegating that to the people that are good at those things.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Okay. So tell everyone about Small Packages, what it is and why it's awesome. why it's like, I have like, things in my cart right now that I need to send out.
Yeah.
Okay. You go first and then I'm going to tell you what my favorite box is.
Okay. So Small Packages, we've got a website online at smallpackages.co. We do curated gifts and everything comes with a handwritten note. So it still feels personalized. Like, everything nowadays is very remote and digitalized. So no one really sends those handwritten notes. It's really funny. my culture, like we didn't really do that, but my husband's family, my in-laws are really big on that. And when my daughters send them a handwritten note back saying thank you, it makes their day. Like they are just like, oh, you're teaching your daughters the right way, you know, whatever. So
well, just getting mail, getting
not
mail that is not a bill, or like soliciting anything is so meaningful to me.
It's exciting. So what we have is we have some curated options. So we've got like gift options for people who you're like something awful has happened to them or your friend. We've got a fertility box with these amazing, you know, bracelets that have like, for, you know, stones that are meant for like fertility, like to help you with I'm not really good with my words sometimes, but with that, you know, and like a journal and everything to help support friends. We've got like, you know, some thank you boxes. We do like during the holidays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, self-care. And then, you know, if you're one of those people that are just like, I think my friend would like some of that, but not all of those things, you can build your own box as well. And we just launched the marketplace where you're like, you know what, I got this as a gift. I really like this lotion. And I can go on and now you can just buy that lotion or, you know, the coffee, the tea, the journal, whatever it is, you can buy it for yourself as well. But yeah, it's really just a way to show you care and keep in touch with people who are far away. It's really hard because all of us live so far away from people now. Like I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, moved to New York City, but I went to Ohio State. My friends are all over the country. They're not in the same place. So I feel like that's a very common thing. So it's a great way to send, you know, I almost said careless, carefully thoughtful, like gifts to those that you love and that you just aren't able to keep in touch with in a different, you know, on a day-to-day basis.
And are all the products women-owned or BIPOC-owned CPG companies?
So a majority, not all, but majority. We really specialize. We try to uplift small businesses, and then, you know, our priority is women-owned and minority-owned. So, you know, we reach out to the BIPOC community. I'm a minority, but not considered a minority. So that's really important to me to uplift those voices. My parents were immigrants and, you know, worked really hard. And so it's like, I now have a platform to help uplift other voices that have similar backgrounds. And I want to be able to do that. And they don't always get the platform.
Right.
We do have some larger companies, not very many, you know, I'm very selective on that. But yeah, so everything is like thoughtful, and we're going to turn it so that you can filter by eco-friendly, women-owned. So if there's a mission or a value that's really important to you, you're going to be able to pick those gifts.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And then on the corporate side of things, I think that that's another direction that you're really focusing on, because you come from the corporate world and in sales. So you know how important it is for a lot of these sales leaders to send products to their clients. And so talk more about what that means, like customize, like, you know, you can basically customize a fleet of packages that you could deploy.
I like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do a lot of corporate gifting as well. And with that, you tell us how many gifts you want and your budget. And if you kind of like want a theme, like I was just putting together some options for a Bon Voyage theme, and you know, included things for travel. Like, so we did these like Turkish cotton towels for the beach, and, you know, a tech travel bag in there, and then, you know, some like easy treats, and then like we have these collapsible mugs and water bottles, so they're easy to take for travel.
I like those,
you know, so basically those aren't offered consistently on our website, but you tell us what you're looking for, and we're going to scour the world follow the same missions and values that we love and what's important to you. And we're going to find the perfect product and gift for your clients, for your teammates, for, you know, like a graduating class. We just did them for some interns, you know, or some event speakers. That's a really big one.
Yeah. Do we have a new home box?
Not yet. We're working on that. And we're trying to work also on a realtor box.
Oh, nice.
So like a closing gift, like, so a real estate agent, you know, you just have these on the go, ready to go to hand over.
Right. Yes. I hate to say this is my favorite box, but, you know, when something awful does happen in someone's life that you care so deeply about and you can't be there, you know, maybe you can't be there for the services, the memorial. And I don't like sending flowers because
Right.
it's just like, then what do you do with them, So, and they only last, just a short amount of time. So something awful box is like the one that is my go-to. And then there's another, I don't know if we still have the red sauce, is like plant-based red sauce.
We don't have that yet, but I'm thinking of bringing it back because
Yeah.
there's been a lot of feedback about people wanting that and really
Yes.
liking it. And, you can also buy it in the marketplace.
Right,
so that-
right. Well, that's because
Yeah.
I sent one to my friend Christina when she had a baby, and then she was like, "Oh my God, this is not a product I would have ever picked up off the shelf."
Right.
And they loved it.
Yeah. And we're also, so we have a women in food box too, where it's, I feel like women in food don't get as much recognition as men chefs.
And that's a damn shame, because
which is crazy because
like,
at the home,
yeah,
everybody thinks
that's our
the women's
place.
cook.
That's where they
Right.
want us.
Exactly. So we've had like the women in food box is also one of our most popular boxes, and it's been out for almost a year. So we're going to like change it up a little bit. And it's really exciting. And it's just a great way for you to try out different foods or a coffee or a tea or some kind of honey that you never would have thought to try.
Right.
Until you get a gift like this.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, is there anything else you want to share with the audience?
I will say, and I hated when people always told me this, is just leap. But I would say leap, follow your dreams, find out what you're really passionate about. It's easier said than done. And even if you fail, I don't really think of it as failing. I think you tried and you succeeded at trying, and you won't look back and regret. Also, I just need to plug it one more time at smallpackages.co. And we're excited, to be here today with Catherine, and would love for you to check out the website, come to us for corporate gifting, event gifting, or just to send somebody a box to say that you're thinking of them.
Yes, I love it. That's like one thing that you mentioned about like the failure piece of it is like, you are going to fail. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be things that don't work out the way that you expected them
Nothing
to
goes
work
perfectly.
But I say failure is the mother of success, and it's like a path you have to go through and navigate, and having people around you to support you during those times is so important and imperative that you are able to lean on people.
I 100% agree, because even if this doesn't work out for me somehow, everything I've learned and all the people I've met, that to me is still success and is going to take me to where I'm meant to go to next.
And the people that support you when it's really hard, like, because it's not rainbows and sunshine all the time. Oh, I'm stuck in here now. The people that support you during that time, it's just like, you never forget them.
Nope, exactly. And that's why I also think like finding a community to surround yourself with is really important as well, because without a community to support me, I don't think I would have ever had the confidence to finally take a leap. But take the risk, figure it out, and you can't fail if you tried.
Yeah, invest in yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I just wanted to also point out that we have Liliana here in the background.
Liliana, you want to
and
say
she's
hi?
been so good and so respectful, and you got good kids, so
most of the time
you're doing something right. Well, thank you everyone for being here for it, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
And I am my own person.